What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. This week, we're going to be talking about the UFC card going down this weekend in North Carolina, headlined by Jairzinho Rozenstruik taking on Jailton Almeida in the heavyweight division. And before we get into this week's card, joined by my co-host, as always, Ozzy. How we doing this week, my man?
Very, very well. Gemini season, as you know, is approaching. So I'm very busy right now. Trying to line up all my moons and all my suns. And then yeah, we had a good event last week. Saw the champ stay the champ. But yeah, just keeping busy, trying to make anything out of these weak cards that they're delivering in the month of May uh here. So I actually like the Bellator card this week a little bit more. Overall, I think there's some more opportunities there. But we're here, talk UFC, let's talk through some of these fights. A bunch of tape on all these guys. So it's not many newcomers other than the first fight of the card, I guess, and then uh like that Pete Rodriguez and stuff like. But he's got a few fights, so at least that's one positive. You see, look at me being positive.
Yeah, you said it's a bad card. I made the mistake of tweeting about how it's a bad card and got fucking 50 people are like, "You're an idiot. It's a good card." But I mean, it's not the worst. It's just a
You do it to
very
yourself. You can't even
I
be
know,
mad at
I
those
know, I know.
people.
I
You can't
can't
even be
believe
mad
it.
at those
I can't
people.
believe it. I
You
forgot.
can't
I
even
hadn't
be
done
mad.
it in a while, bro. I forgot that that people would come out of the woodworks disagreeing. Um, but that's what happens when you're as
You
popular of
just
a
yeah,
Twitter
you just
profile as
had
you.
to get that off your chest though, right? You really needed to let
Right.
everybody nobody else thought that, Martian, right? You're the only person that thought that. So you're like, hey guys, look at this great
I felt
take.
bad for the people
Look,
of North Carolina, bro.
look.
They got screwed.
Yeah, yeah, but let them get screwed, bro. What the fuck you care?
Well, I mean, if you yeah, I
You're
mean,
you're a you're a Philly sports fan, bro. You don't give a fuck about the people of North Carolina, all right? Stop pretending like you do.
the last time they were there was I remember Curtis Blades was headlining versus somebody. I'm pulling this shit up
That's
right
when
now, but
that's
it was
when that's when fucking Derek Lewis knocked him out.
no, he beat Junior
Was
Dos
it?
Santos.
Oh fuck, I don't know.
That was your Chiesa RDA, bro. That was one of your defining moments in the MMA betting
That was a
community.
massive yeah. And these guys are like, yeah, RDA, fuck yeah,
Minus
laying
260.
240, 260. Yeah, go could be suck my dick.
um, last week was a successful one for me. Was at the fights, pretty good card overall. Had a good time watching with my boy Coco. Saw some other, good guys: Danny Lags,
That look
John Starr, John
that looked
Kelly,
like a good time. That looked like a good time.
Marcus. It was, yeah, yeah. Ran into some people. Some people were asking about you. And I told them that when Ozzy goes to an event, he likes to have an experience, and he just didn't feel that Newark could offer that experience that he requires. So
I was right. I was right. I was
I
right.
yeah, I
I
don't
was
think you were.
John Starr told me said that it took him like 3 hours to get home. It would have took me like 3 hours to get home too. No, no way, dude. Not for I love Aljamain Sterling, bro, but I'm not getting back home at like 5 a.m., 4:30 for
Yeah,
that. No way.
Aljamain's Aljamain's entrance, it was hype. It really was.
It looked
Um,
good.
but I thought the main event, in terms of like excitement of it, and watching it live, wasn't that great. It was fun waiting for the decision to be read. I honestly had the fight for Henry. Obviously, not complaining too
You
much with
had
the
a
bet.
5-0. You had a 5-0 for Henry, right?
Yeah, with a few 10-8s thrown in there too.
Yeah, you
Um, but yeah, I got we got a little lucky on Aljamain. I won the head to head on Yan Shannan. Sorry to let Ozzy and Minabay
good.
down there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and then the other good call I had was the Jourdain Gracie fight going the distance. Bilal,
Jordan,
showed out
Bilal.
well. Was
That was some
confident in that
bullshit.
one. Confident in that one going the distance, but honestly didn't even bet it as heavy as I should have. But and
Pork,
how
pork,
yeah,
pork,
how funny was that shit, bro? I was
pork,
just gonna mention that shit.
pork.
A few funny fights. Holmes
That fight was
Ribeiro was funny.
amazing.
Holmes, Ikram, and then Braxton just laying an egg out there.
That's yeah, that was crazy. All right,
Um,
get into this week though.
Wait, last thing I gotta say is Hickson Gracie is
Uh
not proud of
no,
Crone, bro. There's no
come
way
on.
that he embarrassed the family out there. He
No,
embarrassed the family.
I think honestly he just want to get out of his contract. He's like, yo, I'm gonna go. He's gonna go fight for like Nate Diaz. He's gonna go do some shit over there. That would be funny if You see,
He can't fight.
he's gonna be end up in some boxing thing.
He should
Which
go back to jujitsu, bro. Well, like,
I
I don't
agree.
know what he's
I agree. I agree. I would love to. I actually that would be a great. That's a great idea, Martian. He should be in some of those jujitsu man. He should
right.
run it back with JT Torres. That would be a
I
great
mean, like,
match for them
he
to run it
clearly
back.
doesn't understand the whole striking and wrestling type of thing. So
I
let's
think
just go
JT
back
would. I
to
think
jujitsu.
JT would smash him if
Yeah,
oh
nowadays,
man,
yeah, but
yeah, he destroy him.
um but yeah, let's get into this card. Just like we're talking about high level grappling there, we're starting things off in the women's bantamweight division. Jessica Rose Clark taking on Tainara Lisboa. The odds for this one, heavily bet line here. Lisboa now the favorite, minus 121. Jessica Rose Clark plus 101. This line has flipped the past few days. Pretty much the right after the fights last week, JRC minus 155 and just gets completely flipped to dog here. And I think the line movement is correct. Honestly, I mean anybody who is contemplating betting Jessica Rose Clark, I mean you really have to rewatch some of her recent fights and just see how far she's fallen. I actually have a very concrete read on this, and I can tell you that Jessica Rose Clark's knees do not function like they used to at all. I mean, if you watch her fights from 4 fights ago to now after her knee surgery, she looks horrible. And she can't fight behind a game plan. The fights just go south right away for her. She gets taken down easily. She gets stuck on bottom. Giving up submission attempts, and I just don't think she's comfortable fighting anymore. She's kind of like stuck in this pro MMA fighter, shell, and she doesn't really, want to be there mentally anymore. So Lisboa doesn't look too impressive to me, but I think that she's decent enough everywhere to probably win this fight. Uh, and probably get the fight to the floor and probably win with some takedowns at some point. So Lisboa money lines the side, and I took some Lisboa sub at 9-1 here for a bet as well. Any thoughts here, Ozzy?
Yeah, interesting. I agree with the all the kind of action overall. And I feel like a lot of times when you see fights like this where it kind of like stagnates here, you got a slight favorite and stuff like that. Oftentimes, if you just keep, betting it a little bit more, I think is usually the right side. And when I say that is like I feel like sometimes it stagnates some lines like this when you have to lay a little bit of the juice. Obviously, now you're laying like 120, so maybe you're kind of like reconsidering. But I kind of like Lisboa. She looks like kind of like a bit more like natural on the feet in terms of using all her tools, right? Like you see her use knees, elbows, and you said she has a little bit of jujitsu as well. She's also a little bit. Who's gonna have the height advantage here? What's her height at?
Five,
Lisboa.
six. I think they're the same height, 5'6". But yeah, she
They're the
does
same
have
height. Okay.
Muay Thai experience, so you're right.
She just looks like a little rangy a bit, and I feel like like we have said in past Jessica Rose Clark fights, she's just not really doing a lot of damage. So if Lisboa is kind of just staying active, and even if Jessica Rose Clark is trying to close the distance, I think Lisboa is probably more likely to be scoring. And yeah, so I kind of like her as a bet. I think the biggest risk of her losing is maybe Jessica is taking her down and is able to stay on top well. But I like Lisboa as well, so I'll definitely be picking her.
All right, that'll move us along welterweight division now. Gabe Green taking on North Carolina's own Brian Battle. And we have minus 129 for Gabe Green, plus 109 for Brian Battle here. Another fight with some pretty back and forth line movement here. What are your thoughts on this one?
Fight between two guys I've bet a lot of their fights. I've bet their fights very often, so I think I have a pretty good read on them overall. They're both volume based strikers. Obviously Brian Battle's down at 170 now, so maybe his power carries a little bit better than it did at 185. Obviously, you got that knockout of Sato, but you hit anybody with that kick, doesn't matter what weight, they're gonna be down. So he's got a reach advantage here. This is a hometown fight for him as well. And he's just pretty well rounded. Obviously, the grappling, he not was just way too much for him to handle. But that dude is just an animal. And obviously, Gabe Green has shown some vulnerabilities sometimes with the grappling. He's still crafty. He's not bad, at his jujitsu at all. But sometimes it's like being more crafty than the guy. But sometimes he goes for like high risk maneuvers. I feel that could get him reversed or stuff like that. So it should be a close fight overall, but I do lean the Brian Battle side at the plus money side. plus money. I just think he's maybe more of a consistent striker. Can avoid maybe some of the pressure that Gabriel is coming at him with. But I thought I was gonna like this play a little bit more, but I cooled on it a bit. But I did take some plus 115, but I don't think I'm looking to add anymore though. But I will take Brian Battle in this fight.
Yeah, I'm just pretty confident this is going to be a close decision here. I mean, both these guys' fights typically play out pretty close. Neither one of them is known for really pulling away. We have seen some of them. We have seen them finish guys at times, and it's typically both they win the fights in the same way, where they struggle a little bit early, and then because they have good cardio and they stay resilient in fights, they're able to work their way back into it. But to me, looking at the prices. The guy who just got dropped 2 times by Johan Lyonese is the favorite. And to me, I could not lay juice on Gabe Green, knowing that that just happened. I mean, Lyonese is terrible, and if he had any bit of cardio, he would been able to continue winning that fight. But he was just easily outstriking Gabe Green early on there, and that's a guy who's slower than Green, who's less experienced, who's just very wooden. And seeing that right there, it just turned me off of Green at all. Pretty confident this one's going to be a 29-28 for either guy. I think I'll go with Brian Battle to win it. The hometown scores, the hometown judging could maybe help him a little bit here. And I just think if this fight it features any grappling, I think we actually might see a little bit of a submission threat from Battle. So just a little more upside from Battle here. So I think him at a plus number is pretty good. I think he should probably be a slight favorite, actually. So, might get around a bet on him myself there. A fight that was supposed to happen a few months back that got canceled. I'm pretty sure we talked about this one on the podcast. Jiun Kim taking on Mandy Baum, minus 190 for Kim, plus 165 for Baum. I believe last time it was booked, Kim was minus 275 or something.
What
So,
weight is this?
this time,
What weight? 125.
good question. I think it's fifth. Yeah, you're right. It is
Okay,
25.
one.
And Yeah, I think what didn't Kim just have a fight at bantamweight? Yeah, she went up in weight to fight Jocelyn Edwards and lost that one. But I mean, I just think that Kim is the more technical striker, and that should probably win her this fight. She's gotten really unlucky with the judges historically. I mean, a lot of fights that she should have won, she lost in the judges' scorecard. So that right away makes it pretty impossible for me to endorse laying juice on this woman, just because she has terrible luck with the judges. So she should be the better fighter by a pretty good margin, but I don't trust her in this one. Did not watch any tape for this one. Sorry guys, not really scraping out the tape index for Mandy Bomb fights. So I'm just going with a Kim decision as a pick. No bets at all for me there. Any thoughts at all for you here?
I like Kim by knockout, 5-1, something like that.
Yeah, I think 2-3 KO. I
Man,
remember betting them
Mandy Bomb gets hit clean.
plus 1400 round 2 KO for Kim, plus 1700 for KO 3.
Aljamain said that he sparred with Kim and she hits fucking hard.
Yeah, I mean, she has good punching technique. She shouldn't, be
Yeah,
straight
she throws to the body
straight
as well.
punches, just pinging the head back. So
Didn't
yeah,
and you saw how she was getting hit by Lipsky, bro. It looked like she didn't know like punching was allowed. She was like shocked. Like what is going on?
and Leonardo soundly beat her too. So
Soundly beat her. Come on, Kim's got to get a win, man. What
right.
the fuck, Kim?
I hope what she does. My spirits are with her, but I will not be laying minus 190.
No, I'm big on the Koreans now, though.
Yeah,
As I
they
told
have
you earlier.
good attributes on those people. Um,
Yeah,
so Parasite, great movie too. I was just
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
that
We
one.
talked about that one.
Um, Next fight, lightweight division, Natan Levy taking on Pistol Pete Rodriguez, minus 230 for Levy, plus 195 for Pete Rod here. Your turn to start this one off. What are your thoughts?
Man, this is a banger matchup. Obviously it fell through before. They had to reschedule it because everybody wanted to see it. And I actually kind of think that Pete Rodriguez could potentially catch Natan. I'm just confident this fight will finish. Okay, so Pete, he's first time down at 155 here, and he goes forward and he throws, big punches, big shots. So I think he will be able to get Natan uncomfortable. It's just a matter of how does Natan, Is Natan able to keep kick range when he's uncomfortable? Does he like go for takedowns, or does he, make a mistake and get caught with a punch? Um, but I definitely like Pete on the money line or KO line, something like that. I just feel that potentially if he has, the horsepower, he definitely has the horsepower in terms of power. But if he just keeps his conditioning, could keep that up, whatever it is, and avoid some of the grappling, I think he should be able to land some good shots here.
I don't know the line yet. I'm gonna like to quiz you on it, but what do you think the ITD line is here? My guess, actually,
Repeat
you say you
or the
no,
fight,
just for the fight, the fight.
like
If you don't,
240.
I was gonna guess like 350 or something. Let's see what it is. 230. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I think that I agree with that. I mean, Pistol Pete's going to come out hot like he always does. Going to throw some hammers. Levy's boxing defense is pretty bad, and Levy's probably going to be looking to tie up here, get the fight to the floor. But his top game is no good, man. He takes guys down over and over again, but he just doesn't do a whole lot. It doesn't seem like he understands like risk control, right? Like he gets these takedowns and he just lets these guys get their hand on the mat, let them stand up, and he does it all over again. And the guy, luckily for him, has really good cardio, so he can afford to continue to do that. But I don't know, man. I just think that early on here, Pete's gonna put some hands on him. He's gonna look value early on. He's probably either gonna, beat Levy in round one or probably gas out and lose and get finished in the second half of the fight. But at over 2-1, I'm down to take a stab. Three-quarters of a unit for me on his money line, plus 230. Still out there, plus 220 on FanDuel if you have that. And I just think he's gonna fight for your money early on, man. Even if he gets taken down, here's the thing is we have no idea what Pete's defensive grappling looks like. I mean, all of his early fights, he just runs through the guys. His UFC fights so far have been, exclusively striking. So we really have no clue what this guy's going to look like on the floor. I imagine it's not very good. But if he's able to stuff takedowns and stand up here, it can't surprise anybody because it's a total unknown how his grappling is going to look. So I'm down for a small stab on Pete here. Hopefully he can bang this fool out, and a pretty fun fight there for two
Pause.
inexperienced guys.
Pause.
I don't like Levy. Anyway, that's gonna move us on to the next fight, bantamweight division. Cody Stamann taking on Douglas Silva d'Andrade. Um, and the line for this one is Stamann minus 140, d'Andrade plus 120. So Stamen looked like good and bad in his last fight, honestly. I thought his punching technique and his combinations overall looked better, pretty tight punching combinations there, was ripping to the body and mixing it up to the head pretty well. But then it seemed like he kind of maybe took round 3 off or he was actually really tired. But he was, minus 350 in that fight, and a lot of people thought he lost that fight. So, definitely underperforming in that last one. But going forward, I think we did see some good things in his boxing, but it seems like he's been reluctant to wrestle in his recent fights, which is what won him most of his fights in his early career. And now he's kind of resorted to boxing a little bit more here. So I think if he boxes with d'Andrade, he's going to be in for a hell of a firefight because d'Andrade is really good in the pocket himself. I know he's old. He's got to be what, 37, 38 by now. But this guy is still dangerous. He could take a shot and keep coming. He builds into fights really well, even when he's getting
Who
outmatched
the
by
fuck you
guys
talking
early
about?
on.
Who you talking about?
DeAndrade,
Okay.
DeAndrade, Douglas Silva. What the? Um, but yeah, I just think that DeAndrade will have a really good time in the pocket here. I think he's probably the heavier hitter of the two. And if Stamen isn't hitting a lot of takedowns here, I don't see him covering that favorite price tag. Even if he does hit takedowns, DeAndrade is not a bad grappler by any means. But I just think this fight will play out close. And I think I'll take a unit on Douglas here at plus 135. When the fight's on the feet, I think there's good potential for Douglas to look the favorite. So I'm going with the old man Andrade here, riding with Brazil. You got any thoughts?
Douglas is freaking jacked. This guy's a mountain of a man. That last fight was real corny. You saw he was frustrated at Spinaroonie, uh, Saeed. Saeed obviously beat both these guys. Um, but that fight is kind of clouds the fact that the guy's an absolute killer and is he's only really lost to like the top of the division. and Cody Staman's kind of like a point fighter fighting wrestler, which used to be cool, not cool no more. So it used to be cool. It's not cool no more. So
Not the style.
I could see him looking good in terms of people feeling good about the bet if he is able to like calm Douglas down a little bit and like maybe implement some of his grappling. But he just isn't really ever able to do that. Like even when he gets guys like Sonya Dong and stuff like that, they just scrambles all the time. And Douglas is definitely the better. He's a pretty good like submission grappling wise. Like I think he's hip to it overall. So should be a banger fight. And this guy doesn't get tired. You saw that Sergey Morozov fight. This guy's insane. I hope he comes with a cool haircut.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's gotta be in the top, like, 0.01% of 37-year-olds,
That guy's a
physicality-wise.
fucking that dude's a monster.
And Staman's 33, I traditionally don't love betting on these older guys, but it's not like Staman is, in the prime of his career. He's probably at the tail end of it as well. So, moving on to the next fight in the heavyweight division, second to last prelim, a fight that we also talked about once before, Carl Williams and Chase
Oh
Sherman.
god.
Uh, Chase Sherman very close to Ozzy's heart. And then Williams minus 410, Sherman plus 310. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I remember last time we talked about this fight, my dad called me afterwards and he's like, I never heard you and Ozzy have that much fun talking about a fight because we were just laughing at Carl, at Chase Sherman's misery.
Chase
And then the
Sherman.
fight gets canceled. So we get to do it all over again. So
God,
what are your thoughts on this one?
man, I just hate Chase Sherman so much. Like it's just like so funny to me he's still in the UFC. But I mean, if he was smart, he would have been in PFL, dude. Honestly, if he was smart. But obviously Chase Sherman is not smart. Um I think he's probably just gonna take it down repeatedly here, a few times, and then maybe after he tires out a little bit, probably maybe Carl puts some hooks in, or maybe gets to a mounted position, something like that. Probably not, because Carl is harmless. He probably doesn't even mount his wife. Uh, so 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 yeah, so I think it's probably gonna end. I don't know, decision. I don't. This is a bathroom break fight. You see, as you can see. So this one though, bathroom break fight. I don't give a shit about it.
I agree. There is absolutely no rhyme or reason on predicting whether Williams will win by finish or will win by decision. Um, Sherman's Sherman's not going to win. Um, so it's all of a matter. It's ITD or GTD, and you could say you could point to both ends here. You could say Sherman is absolutely terrible on bottom and seems to look to quit the second he gets put on bottom. We saw that against Romanov. We saw that against who is it, Parker Porter. No, it wasn't. It was, Collier, even
Yes,
worse.
Collier. Ha ha
Um,
ha. Ha ha ha.
just immediately
Yeah,
immediately
yeah.
gave his
Yeah,
back
you
and
that was a
tapped.
bad one for you.
Um, anyway, but, so, like, and then Carl, though, is the opposite. He gets on top, he hurts guys, and then he does nothing. He lays there. He hurt, what's the Brisky in his last fight and didn't finish him, and it just seems like the guy wants to do nothing on top, so I'll go. Fuck, man, Ozzy, well, I want you to go first. Pick ITD or GTD for
ITD,
Williams.
ITD.
I agree. I agree. Because I just think the possibility that Sherman turtles up and quits, that it could be over just like that. I mean, it could be a Parker Porter and Braxton rerun. So look out for
And
that.
whose fault was it?
Um,
Why did they delay this fight? Is it Chase again? Who the fuck delayed
oh
it?
yeah,
It's
Chase.
Chase?
Chase was having a heart attack before the night before. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hope Chase is okay. I really do. Next fight, pretty fun fight here between two ancient guys. Matt Brown taking on Court-McGee. Possibly one of the oldest combined ages fights ever. Matt Brown is the dog plus 200. Court-McGee favored plus or minus 235. Man, the action keeps coming in on McGee. Uh, Ozzy and I talked about this a week or two ago, and we are thinking, we were definitely obviously cheering for Matt Brown. And we are thinking, did he might be worth a bet here. Then the odds just keep going up, keep going up. I mean, I get it. He's 43. He, has had a really long career. His chin has looked worrisome in recent years. But I mean, this point now, plus 200 against Court-McGee, who's a fellow really old guy coming off a really, really bad knockout loss. I mean, as bad of a knockout loss as you could possibly have. Um, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess Court McGee should have a wrestling advantage, should have a cardio advantage, but striking wise, I still think Matt Brown hits way harder. He's still dangerous in the clinch at distance, and I mean, this should just be a dogfight for as long as it lasts. So Matt Brown at 2-1 is the side to me.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this fight, and I definitely was very surprised that people were as enthusiastic to take Court there at the big price. Obviously, the guy has good cardio, so I think people think that maybe he could wear down Matt Brown over the course of the fight. But that fight against Barberena was a war. That fight was going all over the place. And Matt Brown, if you see his record, he does have a number. You remember earlier in his career, like at one point, it was like, oh, he's soft to the body, right? And then also he has a bunch of submission losses. But he is a guy who definitely took to like the jiu-jitsu lifestyle underratedly. Like people don't know this, but his ground game got a lot better. Like he actually did train a lot of jiu. I don't know if he ever officially got his black belt, but his ground game and his wrestling, all that has definitely improved over the course of his UFC career. So I think he's plugged up that hole. And then I just feel that Court, obviously the last fight you saw Jermaine or Jeremiah took his soul, right? Knocked him out really bad. Before that, he fought Ramiz, who Ramiz is like a submission or bust guy. He just grinded him to bits over 3 rounds. It's like, is that impressive? Like beating like a 7, 8 fight, 9 fight guy? Not, I don't think so too much. And Matt Brown is just so overall more dangerous. Like, in the like Court is gonna be looking to close the distance, like get close. Usually, he to get takedown stuff like that, whatever it is. But Matt Brown loves being in that clinch. He loves kind of exchanging and he's super comfortable there. So I just feel this is much closer to a 50-50 fight. There has to be a pretty decent edge here, I think. Maybe you could play Matt to finish early if you like, but I just think a little play on the money line here is a nice one to have. In something where Court's chin could be cracked. I mean the guy's been dead a few times, so you never know. So I'll take
Yeah.
I'll take my chances with the immortal one.
'Cause didn't he not only get knocked out with the punch, his head hit the mat, like, as hard as it could, and then, didn't Jeremiah hit him with,
Oh
like, 2
yeah,
more hammer fists
bad.
after that? I
That
mean,
was a bad knockout.
that's gotta take, like, years off your life, so
Matt Brown hits hard, dude.
yeah,
And like I said,
and,
even though he got like he didn't. It's not like he deaf gassed against fucking Brian Barberena.
no, not at all. That fight
If
was
anything,
probably could've
who
gone
who
either way.
who did a court fight before Ramiz? Who was this fight before Ramiz? Keep over
Uh,
there.
fucking Silva, Claudio Silva.
Right, but you see, so you got two guys. Those last two guys that he beat are shit gas tanks. You know what I mean? They got no cardio.
And Carlos Condit before that. I mean, he's they're giving him, like, exclusively
That's what I'm
40-year-olds
saying.
to
Like that
fight.
makes no sense. So I mean, like Claudio Silva is a submission or bust guy. He almost got submitted by him. Like or he got hurt to the body. That fight was kind of close. Like they were going to war a little bit. So yeah, I'll take Matt Brown, dude.
Yeah. Matt Brown versus, Eric Silva, I
Amazing
think
fight.
might be like if you're showing someone like a UFC fight for the first time and trying to get them hooked, I think that might be like the best fight ever to show someone because the momentum swings, the hometown crowd, the finish, everything.
Eric
Matt
Silva's
Brown's a
hair,
G. Hopefully,
Eric Silva's hair whipping across his face.
great point. Yeah. Um,
Ah,
And then this is going to take us to the main card. We're staying in the welterweight division. Tim Means taking on Alex-Morono. Morono is the favorite, minus 235. Means plus 200. Coming back, I feel like kind of a similar vibe to the last fight. Obviously, same weight class, older veteran type guys. I can't wait for this fight. This one is like a calendar type of fight
mm.
for me. I love Tim Means. You're trying to start it
Two
off, though.
two white guys, two Caucasians throwing down 170 pounds. It gets you going. Um,
These are just like like if like these are like union fighters, you know what I
right.
mean? Like they just, like guys in the union, they've done it for 20, 30 years. They just clock in, they
I
clock out,
see. I see. So yeah, I mean, this fight I don't have that great of a read on. I would pick Alex Morono to get the win here. I just feel like he's more active. He kind of like he's just throwing stuff. He's just throwing strikes a lot of the times. But he also mixes in his kicks. Okay, and then he just knows how to win rounds. Honestly, like I feel like he's very intelligent in there. Fight IQ is good. Tim Means. I feel like kind of when he got clipped by like Kevin sorry about that, Kevin Holland. He kind of gave up there a little bit, like that Darce. He could have got not that he could have got out of it, but I don't know. I didn't like his reactions there. Do I think this fight could play out close? Yeah, but I feel that Alex Morono, he just like quicker on the trigger, quicker reflexes. Looks to be more active. Retain good positions even when you're in the clinch and stuff like that. And then we'll see if this fight goes to the ground at all. But yeah, I'm just gonna pick Alex, but I will not be betting on this fight.
I think I'm gonna have to invest in my man Tim. I mean, I'm a long time Tim ride or die type of guy. Been betting the ITD in his past few fights, and I think that that's probably a good bet here. I mean, under 2.5 plus 135. When these guys are on the feet, I mean, they're going to be landing on each other. Both guys hittable. Both guys there to be hurt. Pretty pathetic loss from Morono in his last one. I mean, I know he's going against Pons, who's a dog, but I mean, dropping him in all 3 rounds and then still going on a lose by knockout. I mean, that's embarrassing. So I think it's kind of hard to lay the juice on Morono, just considering he's not a finisher. He almost always goes to the decision, right? He's just coming off a knockout, and he doesn't really have like any super defined advantages here. Does anybody think that Morono is like a way better striker than Means? Does anybody think his defensive grappling is definitely good enough to stop Means' takedowns? I don't. I think that Means could seemingly have a striking or grappling advantage here. So I know Morono should be the favorite because of youth, and probably being a little more durable and probably having a little more reliable cardio. But I think like minus 150 for Morono would be more appropriate than 235 going on 70% for Morono. So I'll take a shot on Means here. Might even end up on Means and the under 2.5. Um, and then obviously, get screwed if Morono decision happens, which is probably the most likely outcome here. But I don't know, man. These guys should go to war, and I think that means I hope Means fucks this guy up. Honestly, the Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
I've long time proponent, but his entire career might be like he might be one of the best
Stop,
action fighters
stop,
ever. I
stop,
mean,
stop.
no, bro, I'm telling you, best action
You're
fighters ever. This guy never has
you're
boring
gonna be
fights.
upset at the end of this fight. Is my prediction.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. That's okay. We're betting numbers here. We're trading. We're investing in stocks. Next fight, Carlos Ulberg taking on Potieria. Ulberg is the favorite, massive favorite, minus 440. Potieria plus 370. I said this a long time ago about before his first fight, but he is not Ukraine certified. I'm telling you guys that I do not think that I think he actually might be like a pro Russia type of guy. I don't know. Maybe I should have made that claim without the proper evidence. But this guy, I remember calling him a Mozarov 2.0, and people thought I was crazy at the time. But that might be pretty accurate after all. Um, but how's Potero going to win this fight? I mean, his only thing he does good at MMA is striking, and he's not even that good of a striker. He's kind of choppy. He just hits hard. And Olberg should just be a much better striker. So unless he cold clocks Olberg and puts him out, which would be a crazy upset in my opinion, this he's going to lose this fight. Um, the only angle I could see from a betting perspective for me here would be maybe going in on that over 1.5 because Poteria did take some massive shots from Negamariano before going
From
down and
who?
getting TKO'd there. Negamariano,
Okay,
Nicolau Negamariano,
okay.
and he and Olberg, if you guys remember, gassed out real bad in that Nzechukwu fight, and then was kind of weary of his cardio after that in the Olberg fight, or in the Sharon fight, excuse me. So I think if Olberg is stinging Poteria with shots, I don't think he's gonna dump his gas tank and go crazy for that kill shot. I think he's more likely to pick him apart and be content to take this fight into the second half if it needs to go there. So I think I'll take a stab on the over 1.5 here. Um, and what about you? Any betting angle here?
Interesting. Yeah, I had not thought about the over 1.5 until now. That does seem good to me.
Logical.
Olberg does seem logical. Olberg does like to keep range, right? He's a very ranging kickboxer. And then I think Poteria usually he fights southpaw, right?
I
Correct.
believe so. Yes.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a big range between the two guys. So it could take a little bit to land some power strikes. Maybe we see some clinching in here. That would not surprise me. Olberg is pretty good in the clinch. But I think Ulberg definitely is gonna win here. I could see, but you never know when these guys sometimes get to trading, at this weight class. But the problem is, Ihor, just conditioning looks shitty. And um, if Ulberg doesn't finish him, I think he should be, really, really, he should probably do pretty well in the latter half of the fight. So I'm gonna look at that over 1.5 though as well.
Sounds good. That'll take us to the welterweight division again. Daniel Rodriguez taking on Ian Machado Gary. Gary, huge favorite here, minus 310 and climbing. D-Rod plus 260. Your turn to start this one off.
Mm,
Should be
interest,
a good fight here.
yeah, interesting one here. Nice matchup. I think appropriate step up for Ian Gary. Watching the Gabe Green fight, but he was pretty quick in that fight. His hand speed is pretty good. I do think he might have that advantage here, or I think he probably will have that advantage here. Just Daniel Rodriguez is a little bit like a little slow, but like he's like the kind of guy when he starts getting his timing with his left hand, he's either able to catch you well, like going on the offensive, or he's really good on the with the counters, kind of like where he caught Kevin Lee, I think, a few times, like countering the jab with his own overhand left and things like that. But I think he's gonna probably have a hard time early on, getting the timing of Ian Gary's. So I guess that's probably why people have steamed it so hard. But I do think that as the fight goes on, like like I said, Daniel Rodriguez is a guy who I feel his style overall, even if it has to happen, a bunch of times, whatever it is one that usually that should get better as the fight goes on. When he makes reads, he's like more of like the traditional boxer like that. He's kind of like a steady engine as opposed to like super flashy. But it should be a good fight. Also Ian Gary does have the grappling advantage here. I don't know how much he'll look to use it. I think he probably will at some point. Because Daniel Rodriguez sometimes is a little bit straightforward, and this is a southpaw versus orthodox, so sometimes you can find yourself kind of like dodging a punch or catching one of those left big body kicks that the guy's throwing and getting into a takedown. But should be a good scrap. I don't mind playing a little bit Daniel Rodriguez. I'm thinking that he's gonna get pocket exchanges and be able to maybe win the fight. But I'm definitely be interested in watching this one.
Yeah, you mentioned grappling there for Gary, but he should have a grappling advantage. It just doesn't seem like he wants to use his grappling really in these fights. So, I think this one should be just a kickboxing fight, probably a competitive one with Gary ahead. He is, I believe, 13 years younger, and this fight should come down to speed. A lot of it, really, and considering Gary is just so much younger and more athletic at this point. I think that will probably win him the fight, but that's going a long way from saying he should be minus 310 here. So I do think the betting side is on D-Rod here. I just wouldn't go too crazy. I think maybe I don't know. I'm not going to tell anybody how much to bet on them, but I don't think I would be betting him with much confidence here. Just because at the end of the day, I think it will be a decision that goes to Gary by him just being a little bit quicker to the punch, and I don't know. Rodriguez had some good luck with that Jing Liang decision though. So if these are close rounds, he might get some favoritism there. It should be American versus Irish fighter too in America. Maybe the crowd will have a little bit of support behind D-Rob, but I doubt it. They'll probably actually like Gary better, just because the PR machine of the UFC. But that's enough about that one. I don't even know what the props are. Yeah, the over and goes the distance are pretty favored. Yeah, nothing stand out in terms of props there. Next fight is the co-main event on the card. It is the light heavyweight division. Anthony Smith taking on Johnny Hawker. Um, Line for this one, pick 'em -110 on both sides. Line bouncing back and forth. Man, I don't really have much concrete analysis for this one, although I just think that Walker's gonna win somehow. I don't know how he's gonna do it. I don't know what logic there is behind it. Smith should be, the better overall fighter, much better career. Walker still has some pretty glaring weaknesses, but I think Walker actually is getting actually a little bit better. I think he's making better decisions in the middle of the fight, and I think his skills all around are getting marginally better. So um, I just think. I just think Walker needs a lot less for him to go right in this fight to win. While Smith, if he wants to win, I think he's going to need sustained success to win multiple rounds. I don't think he's gonna submit or finish Walker here. I think if Anthony is finishing it anyway, it will be by sub. But I think that Walker's defensive grappling is actually getting a little bit better. We saw that versus Kudalaba. Um, and man, I don't know. I just think that Walker winning this fight in hilarious knockout fashion is going to happen. Yeah, what about you?
This fight is too volatile to bet on. I don't see any reason for this co-main event to get any dollars.
Right.
Just looking at maybe even the prop side of things, like the 1.5, like, you would probably want to take the under, but then that Anthony Smith, a lot of his fights, like he's ended a lot of them later on in the fight. Um, but I mean, early on, I could see obviously Anthony Smith does have some okay, like he'll throw some solid, punches early on, especially. And Johnny Walker is not. He doesn't really have defense. He's kind of just like his defense is like his weird unorthodox movement, but it's not very effective. It's just sometimes people aren't ready to throw the right combinations to catch him. Um, but then also Anthony Smith. I don't like the 1.5 under 1.5 because he's actually kind of like not that he's super tough. He is tough, but like he doesn't really get put out clean. He'll start to pull guard and clinch and do all this other shit. So he's not you know like that. But then he also missed weight last time trying to do some bullshit. So way too volatile of a fight.
Also coming off an injury, I think he had surgery. I remember reading something about that he had like a bad infection after the surgery too. Because right, yeah, he broke his fucking leg. Or well, actually, Conor McGregor will tell you that he did not actually break his leg, but he fractured something in his leg, and he's getting up there in age too, man. I don't know. Um, the one bet I will consider there is the goes the distance at plus 330. You were mentioning the over. I feel like if it gets to over 1.5 at plus 100, then you're already halfway there to winning the plus 300. So, um, I might look to play that fight going long. I could see it stretching out long. Main event time, horrible fight. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking with this fight. Jailton Almeida, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Possibly the most binary fight of all time. Jailton minus 500, Jairzinho plus 375. I'm glad it's your turn to start this one off. What are you thinking about this fight as a main event, and
Two
what are you thinking about the matchup?
two of the most highly skilled guys in the division here, right? So we got one of our best, our best KO artists, honestly, most technical KO artist, and the best grappler, jujitsu guy, wrestler. This dude Almeida is sick. How much did he weigh last time, Martian? What was his weight? Like 230? What is he
I thought it
weighing
was
in now?
239 or something. I'll
You
check
pull
it
that
out.
up? Yeah, pull that up when you have a chance. Just chime in if you can. But
232.
232. So he's growing. Um, and I like that he's kind of not going to 205. It must suck to, just, do that when you could fight guys like Biggie Boy and take their ass down and, he doesn't know how to do anything on the ground. So it should be interesting in that perspective of, does Biggie Boy throw one of them uppercut? Like you saw that Andre Arlovsky knockout. He kind of like just was following up. He Biggie Boy does throw some nice like arcing shots, like how he caught Sakai, right, with like a left hook, I think it was, or right, it was one of the sides. Sakai was trying to run away from him. Albini, he kicked his fucking dome off. Nice angle there. Overeem, he was chasing his ass down. So that's the one thing that Biggie Boy does do good. He knows how to change up the arc of his strikes, to land on guys. So that will prove important because this guy obviously is gonna be diving for his legs and trying to tie him up and shit. But that's it. So can he land some punches? If not, there's no way this guy is gonna be on the ground and then get back up without getting submitted. Maybe once, maybe one time, but this is just no way. I just feel that this guy's either gonna. I mean, it's gonna be rear naked choke or something like this. Be pretty easy once he goes to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a matter of can Jairzinho knock him out before the first takedown because one takedown is all it should take for Almeida. Either he's going to finish him with that first takedown or he's going to beat him up and deplete him so badly that those takedowns should just come very easy from then on out. I mean, it's even hard to like bet on like a time prop for the fight, right? Because like they have starts round two at basically pick 'em. But I don't know, man. It seems Almeida is shooting right away in these fights, and if he gets that takedown right away, and he has 4 minutes on top of Rozenstruik, that should be all the time he needs. So I mean, goes the distance is plus 800 here. I mean, that seems about right to me. I just think Almeida's probably going to finish him in the first round. I don't see any bets. Maybe Almeida KO plus 220 because it seems like he's pretty content to just throw ground and pound on a lot of these guys instead of fishing for the sub. If he can just get that back mount, and Rozenstruik's done it before. He just covers up with both of his hands by his face, covering him up, and it could be a TKO. I don't know though, man. This fight sucks from a viewing perspective and a betting perspective. I don't see any bets that I like on it. Any bets at all for you?
No, I'm not on that fight. Nothing, dude. There's nothing I'm playing.
If you had to force yourself to make one bet, what do you think it
If I
would
had to
be?
force myself to make one bet on that fight, it would be Almeida TKO.
Okay, it's
I'm
not
not
bad.
laying fucking. I'm not
Uh,
laying juice on him to choke this dude. I mean, fuck. I
yeah.
don't know, dude. That's a bad. Those are bad options.
Well, what about ends? I saw somebody mentions ends KO for either guy. Maybe if you can get that and fade the submission. They have Rozenstruik KO round one at 11-1. I mean, that's the only way the guy can win the fight. So, that might not be bad. Let's see. Ends KO a plus money, plus 115. So that's not bad. Yeah, shit main event though. Okay card outside of that. And that'll do it. Getting you all out of here in about 50 minutes. A little bit of a lackluster card this week. What do we got next week? Oh yeah, Dern and Hill, the new main event.
Higher.
We will be back in action for
We
that
got the
one.
next middleweight
Um,
champion though on the card, so it's oh
oh
no, that's
right,
the week
Edmund
after.
Shabazz.
Excuse me, that's the week after. I'm bugging up. Oh no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Well,
I'm
we'll have
right.
to
No,
wait
I'm right.
one.
It is like that is a week after.
Yeah, I think we're actually off the following week after that, the
Yeah,
27th. There's no
there is
UFC.
not.
So, all right, fellas, enjoy Bellator fights this weekend. Enjoy the UFC fights. Hope you all win some bets. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you all before the next UFC event next week. Peace out, everyone.